Hi, we're just going to start with some basic Pilates movements, just to warm the spine up, articulate the spine, and just get you used to your breathing, adding the breath and your centering or your core contraction to your movements. So we're going to start off in what's called Pilates rest position. So have a small folded towel or a small cushion just to support the back of your neck to start with. Laying on your spine, knees and feet hip socket width apart, toes pointed forwards, palms down by your sides. Have your eyes looking slightly forwards, and we start in what's called neutral spine, or the spine in its natural position. So that will mean a small space at the back of the lumbar spine and a small space at the back of the neck. The back of the rib cage or the thoracic spine will be touching the mat. So knees and feet slightly apart, palms on the floor, head rested. Okay, start with some nice long deep breaths. Try and breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Inhale and exhale. Try and expand the breath into the rib cage, not your tummy. If you breathe through your tummy, you're going to let go of those core muscles, your centre. So just take some nice long deep breaths. Inhale, exhale. We're going to start with a pelvic tilt backwards. So, just nice and gently, tilt the pelvis backwards or posteriorly, just so you feel the lower back flatten into the floor. And once you feel the lower back touching, pause for a second, just draw a little bit deeper into the abdominal muscles. Nice long deep breaths once again, and just return back to your start position. So the pelvis just drops forward and just come back to that natural arch or neutral spine. Just see if you can do a couple more of those. Take a nice long deep breath in to prepare. When you're ready, as you breathe out, tilt the pelvis backwards just so you feel your lower back flattening into the floor, and then return back to your start position. All the way through that exercise, try and maintain the contraction of your centre, your core. Breathe out, tilt the pelvis backwards, and then return on that one long out breath if you can. We're going to start to increase the range of the movement. So on the next one, we tilt the pelvis backwards, we allow the lower back to flatten, draw just a little bit deeper into your centre, and just start to lift your bottom, lift your spine off the mat. As you do that, just maybe come up to about halfway, pause, and then roll the spine back down bone by bone, coming through the lumbar spine, and then finally the base of the spine, the sacrum will touch, back to your start position. Try and control the length of the movement with the out breath if you can, guys. So when you're ready, take a deep breath in to prepare. As you breathe out, tilt the pelvis backwards, and we're going to come up on the length of your out breath. Come a little bit higher. Ultimately, we want to get you up to a nice straight line from your knee, through your hip to your shoulder, palms on the floor, roll the spine back down carefully. Come back down on one long out breath if you can. Come through the mid-spine, the lumbar spine, and finally the base of the spine last of all. One final time, tilt the pelvis backwards, allow the lower back to flatten. Try and breathe out as you raise up. Make sure as you lift up, guys, you don't roll on the outside of your feet. Don't let the feet roll outwards. So we're going to make sure we apply a little bit of pressure down through the balls of your feet, behind the big toe. That keeps the connection of the inside leg, and it stops the knee turning outwards. So we always want to keep that good alignment of your knees and feet. Okay, maybe 4 to 8 repetitions of that exercise. Pelvic tilt or pelvic curl leading up into our shoulder bridge movement. So the purpose of the movement is to mobilise the spine. We're now going to bring knees and feet together, and we're going to stretch the arms out wide. Try and have the palms facing upwards. If you have your palms facing down, it internally rounds your shoulders inwards. So we want to stay nice and wide across the collarbones. Knees and feet together. Squeeze quite firmly so you feel your inside thigh muscles working, your adductors. We're going to firstly go to your right side. So as you gently lower your knees to your right side, just let the left foot come off the floor. Keep the ankle bones touching and try and keep the knees touching. Breathe out to lower the knees across. Come back to the middle, taking an in-breath. And as we go to our left side, just go about halfway to start with. Making sure your knees stay together, making sure your ankle bones stay together. Come back to the centre. As you go across to your right side again, it's not about how far you can move here, it's about the ability to keep the knees and feet touching, and we're rotating across the trunk, stretching the muscles across the trunk and mobilizing your spine in rotation. Just do one more each way, guys. Try and breathe out to go across. Come back to the middle as you breathe in. And breathe out to go across once again. Just a nice controlled movement. Don't force the movement. Try not to let the knees and feet come apart once again. Come back to the center. Okay, now we can try the more challenging level of lifting your knees and feet above your hips. Just draw your knees in slightly, just so you feel the contact of your lower back. As you breathe out, lower your knees to your right side. Make sure your left shoulder doesn't lift. Don't allow this movement to lift your left arm or shoulder. Come back to the middle. And as you rotate across to your opposite side, your left, make sure we don't allow the right arm to lift. Come back to center. Bring the palms down by your sides and lower the feet one at a time.